Hello, it's the weekend and in the rabbit room, that means cage cleaning. Once a week in the cooler months, I clean cages. I have the drop pans that pull out. I've had a lot of questions about how these stack, how these drop pans work. So I'll just give you a quick idea. This cage here, this system, these are the Do More cages from Tractor Supply, and they have available, some of them come as a kit, some of them you have to buy separately, but they have these frameworks that fit into these brackets that are already in the cage, and then the pans just slide in and out on a pair of rails down here. So that's that, real simple. And then once a week I take them out. In the summer I like to spray them out with every cleaning, keeps the maggots down, keeps the urine down. In the winter, you know, hoses are frozen and barns aren't quite as clean as we'd like them to be. You can see I'm mid-job here, so the barn is obviously not as clean as it usually is, but it will be by the time I'm done. This takes me, with 29 cages, about 45 minutes once a week. In the summer, sometimes I'll do it twice a week if the flies are getting bad, just so that I can kind of break up that life cycle of the maggots. But otherwise, this system works really well. I do like to cover the pans with just a light layer of shavings. I don't fill them up. The rabbits don't come in contact with the pans. Everything drops down through the wire into the pan so that they're always out of the urine and the feces, and that's all below them. The reason I like the shavings is that it, one, helps reduce your odors by a lot, and two, it also soaks up a lot of the urine and spilled water and whatnot. And that makes it a lot easier for me to clean. I don't have sloppy, sloshing pans when I'm trying to carry them out to the Kubota outside the door. Something else I want to share with you today is something I've recently started doing, a little bit of a hack. And that is mixing in shredded paper with my shavings. Now, I don't usually have enough paper to completely bed with it. I do need shavings too, and I like the mix because I think the two together work well. This is something I started trying out just because, you know, so much paper waste, so much junk mail comes through, and I have to pay to get rid of it with my trash company, and why not use it if I can? So I had gotten a paper shredder for my office, and, you know, we'll upcycle those into the shavings with the rabbits. Couple things about that. I always make sure that the paper is kind of like a matte, flat, like newsprint, cardboard, anything, but you don't want to use anything that's, say, waxy or glossy. And the reason that I don't do that is that all of this waste goes straight into my garden, or it's used to mulch my elderberries and other plants around. So that waxy, glossy stuff, that's not something that you want in your garden, and it also won't break down. So nothing plastic coated, nothing glossy coated. I take off any plastic tapes or anything before I shred them. If I have envelopes with plastic windows, I rip that part out, shred the rest of the envelope, and just throw that away. It actually reduces my office trash by at least 75%. So this is really useful. It helps me cut down on my shavings costs too. You know, these bags used to only be about $4 a bag, probably in 2020, 2019. And now I'm pushing $8 a bag on these. These have really gotten pretty expensive. I can also say I have tried using only paper in the pans, and it does work. It works well. It actually worked better than I thought it would at absorbing the manure, very similar to the shavings. The one thing it didn't do as well as the shavings is it didn't control the odors quite as well. Not awful, but a noticeable difference. I was concerned. I thought that if I used paper in any of the trays, that it would mat too much and it would just come out as one kind of solid, thick mess. And that didn't really happen. It actually did a good job, probably just as well as the shavings. And again, it all goes right in the compost, right in the garden. So no big deal there. So usually what I do when I do this is I take my bag of various shreds from the office. I put them in with the shavings, and then I kind of mix and stir them around as I go. I don't You don't have to necessarily mix the whole bag, but I do like to get a mix started, and then I'll kind of just stir it around with my scoop as I'm fishing stuff out. So these are all shreds from the office, different newspaper, whatever, you know, bank statements, everything you don't really want anyone getting a hold of. But since Christmas was not that long ago, I also have some shreds that came as filler and gift baskets and stuff. It's not waxy coated, it's just plain paper. So this will be going in there too. So, you know, like I said, afterwards I take the pans out. It goes out to my Kubota. I scrape these with like a putty knife, a 4-inch putty knife. Just scrape out the corners, anything that sticks in there. Most of the stuff actually comes right out. This time of year can be a little different because sometimes it's half frozen in there, but usually I can get under most of that as well. So then I'm just taking up a scoop and I'm spreading it. I like to hit the corners because they're going to choose one corner or another usually as their waste area, and that way I also don't have to pay attention. But that's, you know, it makes sure that when the water is running and whatnot, that it all gets that. Just a little layer and it works itself around. That's that. Goes right in the cages and we're all done. So that's all it is. But I do recommend doing this. I can tell you that I did a little research before I bought my shredder because I got a ton of cardboard. You know, we live out in the country, and if I don't have to leave here, then I'd rather not. So I do a lot of ordering online, and you know how that is, the boxes pile up. So I did a little research to find out if these home office shredders could take the cardboard, and the answer was yes, but you want to get at least an 18 sheet shredder. So a lot of them are 6 or 12, and then they go up from there, 18, and you can even get bigger than that. But you know, that came right off the company's website. 18 and higher could take cardboard, and it's worked great. Mine takes like a normal paper size, so sometimes I have to rip those down or cut them down, but no big shakes, and helps in the rabbitry here with the bedding, helps keep that cost down, and it's a good way to upcycle and reuse something that I have to get rid of anyway. So that's that. I hope you find it helpful. Any questions or comments, leave them in the comments. I'll get to them. And also there's an article that goes with this over on the website at meetrabbits.org. We'd love to have you join us there, and you can comment there as well. Thank you.